Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Right, sir. Right, sir. Now check it what we completed in the last sessions. What exactly the content here we understood there in the last sessions. All of you guys up to this now. So I think so we are discussing about the differences between or before that types of programming languages we are discussing. In types of programming languages, what we have content there in types of programming languages. Overall, 4 types of programming languages are available. What are the 4 types of programming languages? No, unstructured programming languages, structured programming languages, object-oriented programming languages, and aspect-oriented programming languages. These are overall types of programming languages are existed. We can understand it now. Next one is then after that. So where already we understood no differences between unstructured programming languages and structured programming languages. If you have to this, unstructured programming languages are introduced at beginning stages of computers. These are outdated programming languages. But whereas structured programming languages are not outdated programming languages. Unstructured programming languages are not suitable for our at present application requirements. Right, so examples are Fortran and Basic, but whereas structured programming languages are suitable for our at present application requirements. Examples are C, Pascal, and so on. Structured programming languages are using mnemonic codes to prepare applications. So like move, store, add, sub, mul, div, and so on. But structured programming languages are using high-level syntaxes to prepare applications. So here, different data types like what I'm telling you know, int, long, float, and so on. If, switch, break, continue, and all. Next one is unstructured programming languages are not having proper structure to prepare applications, whereas structured programming languages are having proper structure to prepare applications. Unstructured programming languages are using only code statement to define flow of execution, whereas the structured programming languages are having so no number of flow controllers to define flow of execution, like if else, switch, for, while, break, continue, and so on. Unstructured programming languages are having functions of feature, no code reusability, but whereas structured programming languages are having functions feature, it will increase code reusability. Then after that, here we are having the content like what I'm telling you know, what are the differences between structured programming languages and object-oriented programming languages. So where we have seen number of examples, number of points. Structured programming languages are providing difficult approach to prepare applications, whereas object-oriented programming languages are providing simplified approach to prepare applications. Modularization is not good in structured programming languages, whereas modularization is good in the case of object-oriented programming languages. Abstraction is not good in structured programming languages, whereas abstraction is good in object-oriented programming languages. Security is not good in structured programming languages, whereas security is good in object-oriented programming languages. Shareability is not good in structured programming languages, whereas shareability is good in object-oriented programming languages. Reusability is not good in structured programming languages, whereas reusability is good in object-oriented programming languages. Right, record content I discussed already. So regarding this, now try to understand it. What are the differences between object-oriented programming languages and aspect-oriented programming languages? Right, sir. So I will give some clarity for you. Now try to understand it. No. Guys, now just I'm asking one question to all of you. Now try to answer for it. Understand my point? No. Object-oriented programming, we will prepare programs. In object-oriented programming, we will prepare applications. Will prepare applications by combining services logic and business logic. Yes, all of you have to this clear. In object-oriented programming, we will prepare applications by combining services logic and business logic. Right, sir. What is services logic and what is business logic? What is services logic and what is business logic? So we are combining services logic and business logic. I will discuss there. What is services logic and what is business logic? I'll discuss with you. It will reduce scalability and reusability. It will reduce shareability and reusability in our applications. Understand it? This is a problem with object-oriented programming. All right. I will give one example. What is the meaning of it now? By combining services logic and business logic, if you think about it, right now, let's observe this clearly. What I'm trying to say now. What I'm trying to say now. Now try to observe this clearly. For example, this is an application I'm preparing, and this is another application here I'm preparing. Two applications here I'm preparing now. This is application 1. This is application 2. Fine. Understand, guys, what I'm telling you know? Guys, now tell me, if you take any enterprise application or if you take any in general application in outside, authentication is required or not? Authentication service is required or not? Come on, guys, now tell me now. Authentication service is required or not? Right? You have to respond for my questions now. Authentication is required or not? Definitely, authentication is required. So okay, just we can provide authentication service. Then after this, some business logic here we are going to write. Now tell me, authorization is required or not? Checking permissions whether the user is able to access a particular resource or not. Giving permissions and checking permissions whether this particular user is authorized to access this particular resource or not in our application development. So authorization is also a service. Authorization. Then after this authorization, again here what we are able to provide now, some business logic here we are able to provide. Similarly, validation service is required or not? Validations, data validation. For example, user age field is available. In place of that user age, if we provide 500, is it valid? 500 is the user age, is valid? No, I want to have some limitation over my user age. That will be like what I'm telling you know. So just I want to allow 18 years to 30 years only. That users range I want to allow 18 years to 13 years. That's my point. So now validations is one of the parts here. Good. Then apart from this here, what we are able to provide there, business logic here we are able to provide. So like this, totally what I'm telling you know, in object orientation, services and as well as business logic, services and as well as business logic, both are provided in an embedded fashion. Both are provided in an embedded fashion. All of you have to this clear. So here, authentication, business logic, authorization, business logic, validation, business logic, are both are provided like this. Good. That's fine. Now this is what exactly the point I'm telling you know, in object orientation style. So both the business logic and authentication both are provided. Guys, now tell me, in application 1 we are performing authentication, in application 2 we are performing authentication. Do you have any change in authentication in application 1 to application 2? Or do you have any change in the functionality of authentication? Come on, guys, you have to respond for my questions now. Have you seen any difference in the authentication process in application 1 to another application? Come on, guys, you have to respond for me. Yes, any change is available in application 1 to application 2? No, no change is available in authentication from application 1 to application 2. Authorization also, any change is available in its functionality from application 2 1 to another application 2? No change is available. In the same way, validations point of view also, any changes are available in the functionality of validations from application 1 to application 2? No changes again. All right, so now up to this clearly, business logic is varied. Business logic is respective to the client, respect to the application. This business logic is varied from application to application, but services are not changed from application 1 to application 2. Now tell me, right, sir? Yes, exactly, Harshazai, right, sir. Authentication is somewhat related with the password and you log in, username and password, such type of thing only. Guys, now tell me, all of you now tell me, all of you observe this clearly. All of you guys observe this clearly. All of you observe carefully. Now, guys, now respond for me. How many applications can we prepare now? Yeah, exactly, Harshazai. What you are having, generalized thoughts, the same thing, right? Tell me, guys, how many applications here we are preparing? How many applications here we are preparing? Overall, 2 applications here we are preparing. That's okay, good. When 2 applications we are preparing, if you observe this total part here, at each and every application, how many services we are using? At each and every application, how many services we are using? Right, sir. At application 1, authentication is service, authorization is one service, validation is another service. At application 2, again, authentication is one service, authorization is one service, and validation is another service. Anyway, my question would be, now tell me, in both the applications, in 2 applications or in both the applications, how many copies of services we provided, sir? How many copies, no? In both the applications, how many copies of services are available? 2 copies of services are exist or not? Not 3. That means this authentication, authorization, and validation. This is one copy in our application 1. One copy of service. And here also be another copy of service for application 2. It means that my point is like which one here? 2 copies of services. 3 services at each and every application, that means 2 copies. The 3 services, 2 copies we are using. For example, application 1, application 2, that means 2 applications we are preparing, 2 copies of services here we provided. Now tell me, 100 applications if we prepare, 100 applications we prepare. Now how many copies of services here we have to prepare? 100 applications I prepared. How many copies of services here we are able to provide? Tell me, guys. How many copies of services here we are able to provide out of these 100 applications? No? Tell me. How many copies of services here we are able to prepare? 100 copies of services here we have to prepare or not? Now tell me, for 100 applications, if we prepare 100 copies of services now, then where we are providing reusability and where we are providing shareability? Are you providing any shareability? Are you providing any reusability, guys? Just answer for my question now. Where we are providing shareability and where we are providing reusability? Are you providing any shareability or any reusability? No. No. We are not providing any shareability. We are not providing any reusability. For every application, if we provide a separate copy of our services now. Right, sir. Exactly. In this particular situation, to improve shareability and to improve reusability, aspect orientation is coming. To improve shareability and to improve reusability, aspect orientation is coming. Yes, all of you observe this clearly now. See, one more thing I'm telling you that this is a design principle I'm telling you, this is common for all the programming languages, and this is not specific to a particular programming language, but a methodology I'm telling you. So for each and every application, a separate copy of services if you provide now, then there is no shareability and no reusability content. Exactly in this particular situation, to improve shareability and reusability, what we are able to do now. Right. So if we come for this particular point here, right. So in the above context, improve shareability and reusability. In the above context, we improve shareability and reusability. To improve shareability and reusability in the above context, shareability and reusability, we have to apply aspect orientation. Orientation. We have to apply aspect orientation. Then what exactly is aspect orientation actually? But one point I'm telling there. Right, sir. What is this aspect orientation? Here we have to understand. That's 1 minute. Right, yes. Now observe this clearly. In the above context, to improve shareability and reusability, we have to apply aspect orientation. What is this aspect orientation actually? What is the meaning of this aspect orientation? All of you guys observe this clearly. Aspect orientation is a methodology. 1 minute. Right, sir. Now observe this clearly. What I'm telling you. So aspect orientation is a methodology or a set of guidelines or a set of guidelines which are a set of guidelines. Aspect orientation is a methodology or a set of guidelines which are used to alright, sir, which are guidelines which are used to or which are applied on object oriented programming. Which are applied on object oriented programming in order to improve shareability and reusability. Reusability. Yes, all of you have to this clearly. Aspect orientation is a methodology or a set of guidelines which are applied on object-oriented programming only in order to improve shareability and reusability. In order to improve shareability and reusability. This is what exactly the point is. Right, sir. Right, sir. Now, after understanding this particular thing, what I'm telling to you apart from this, now I'm going to apply this aspect orientation. How we are going to improve this aspect orientation, guys? Now try to recognize this. How we are able to improve this aspect orientation. Now try to observe this clear. Right, sir. Now how we are going to implement this aspect orientation? In aspect orientation, what we will do? First one is we will separate all services from applications. We will separate all services from applications. Guys, wait a minute of them, guys. Guys, observe this clearly. We will separate all services from application, and we will declare each and every service. We will declare each and every service as an aspect. We will declare each and every service as an aspect. Understand, guys, what I'm telling you now. We will declare each and every service as an aspect. Then what we will do now? We will inject all these aspects. We'll inject all these aspects into the applications at runtime. We will inject all these aspects into the applications at runtime. That's it, guys. Now that we are able to understand clearly. So what exactly the meaning of like aspect orientation now I'm going to apply now. Then now as per this content here we can understand. We will separate all these services from applications. We will declare each and every service. We will declare each and every service as an aspect. We will inject all these aspects into the application at a runtime. At a runtime. Understand it, guys? What I'm telling you now. Fine. Now I will apply this. I will apply this in our diagram. Now try to recognize this. Alright, so now observe this clearly, all of you. Guys, all of you recognize this. Now, here authentication is a service. Separate it. Now here it's not required. Already one time we are separating this. Now leave this now. Authorization. So separate it. Alright, so definitely, Navneet and these things, validations and authorizations and everything will come in an enterprise application level. At least Django framework. In Django framework, we are able to get all of them. Not in a basic level, but aspect orientation is totally what I'm telling you know, somewhat advanced level methodology for designing applications. Now, this is existed. So as part of these types of programming languages we are discussing, but when we come for these applications like enterprise level applications, web applications, at least if you go there, all these concepts will come into the picture. Aspect orientation, right? So, but how I can go for all these things? In our current class, it might not be possible, maximum. But we need to understand then what is aspect orientation at least. Yeah, why? Because authentication and authorization, where we are able to utilize, at least now, can you understand it now? Where we are able to utilize this authentication and authorization now? At web level max, enterprise level, that we require. But concept wise, we have to understand. So even actually my intention of discussing all these things is like what I'm telling you know, here my intention is, my required information is up to object orientation only. But here already we have types of programming languages, just I listed this one. So I need to discuss this one also. That's why I'm discussing about it. Exactly. In web-based applications, we are going to discuss on all these things. Definitely. It's coming. Authentication and security and the services we are able to implement. Right, sir. Right, yes. Now let's observe this clearly. Then what I'm telling you know, inside this. So we separated all these services from the applications. After separating these services from the applications, what we provided, after separating these in our applications, then what we are able to do now, separating this, after separating this, now here what I'm able to do now, observe carefully, we have to declare each and every service, we have to declare each and every service as an aspect. Now this is an aspect, this is an aspect, and this is an aspect. So here we are able to declare all these are aspects. Now this is like what I'm telling you know, aspect 1 for example. Now this is like what I'm telling you know, aspect 2, and this is like what I'm telling you know, aspect 3. Right, sir. These aspects are existing. Right, sir. Understand it now. Right, sir. Aspects. These are like what I'm telling you know, aspects now. Right, sir. So now what I'm telling you, apart from this, what I'm telling you know, right, so now here we can understand it. No, in our application where we record these services, there we have to put some join points. This is one point here, and this is another point here, and this is another point here. We are able to declare now. Here also we have to declare this is one point, and this is another point, and this is another point. Like this, there only we require some services case. Now after this created. So here what I will do now, wherever we require these services, there we are able to provide. There we are able to provide. There we are able to inject these services into the our applications now. Now carefully. Say for example, now this is existed here. Here also this is existed now. Here also this is going to be injected. The services are going to be injected. Injected in the sense like what I'm telling you know, when flow of execution is coming here, it will come to this aspect and it will export it and it will come back to the program, you know. Again, business logic. Whenever it is coming to this location, it will come to this aspect and exporting this aspect code and including the content, you know, that we are able to do. Right, sir. This is another. Right. Right. Now this is another one. Now just we have to understand now. Next one is then here we have to inject the required services. Right, sir. Good. Now, and I'm giving one more conclusion, guys. Now try to observe this clearly. All right. So now here we are going to understand it clearly. All right, sir. Like this here we are providing our content. So guys, now I'm asking one question to all of you. Now try to answer for it. All of you guys observe this clearly. Now tell me how many copies of services can we provided? Please all of you respond for me. How many copies of services can we provided? Now tell me. Only one copy of services. No, one copy. Now all the three things are single copy. One copy of services can be provided, but the single copy of services will be shared to how many applications? No, in a single copy, three services are available, but single copy of services are shared to how many applications? No, single copy of services are shared to multiple applications. Has 1 minute less. Guys, now up to this clearly what I'm telling to you. Okay, fine. All right, yes. Now, then what next one, you know, how many copies of services can be provided? One copy, but the single copy of services will be given to multiple applications or not? Single copy of services are given to multiple applications or not? So, guys, now tell me, here shareability is provided or not? Come on, guys. Shareability is provided or not? Shareability is improved or not? At a time, then single copy of services will be given to more than one application. Right, sir. So this is like what I'm telling you know, shareability. That's okay, fine. This is shareability. Then now tell me how many times can we achieve it? That's 1 minute. Hello? ఒక్క నిమిషం చూస్తున్నాను క్లాస్ రూమ్ వస్తున్నాను చూస్తున్నాను. Alright, guys. Now this is nothing but like what I'm telling you, shareability and reusability. This content here we are getting guys, and I have a small work now, and I will continue the remaining part tomorrow, guys. Just a bit earlier more, just I want to leave. Then continuously I'm getting call also. No, I will continue the remaining part tomorrow, guys. Right? Right. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. A little bit busy today, but continuously calls are coming. Right. I'll continue on tomorrow. Thank you. Tomorrow is the remaining part.